Sergeant Jake Morrison had been maintaining equipment for the joint human-Varkesh military coalition for 8 months without incident, a perfect record of competent, unremarkable service that suited him perfectly. He preferred the quiet precision of equipment maintenance to combat chaos, enjoyed the meditative quality of cleaning, calibrating, and repairing the tools soldiers depended on. The Varkesh were meticulous about their equipment, particularly their armor, elaborate pieces combining protective function with cultural artistry, each set customized to reflect the warrior's achievements, family lineage, and personal honor. Jake had been trained extensively on proper maintenance protocols, had studied the significance of various design elements. He'd never once damaged a piece he was servicing. Until today. Commander Seya Kor'venn's chest armor sat on his workbench, intricate metalwork depicting her family's crest, intertwined with symbols of her military achievements. Jake was performing standard cleaning, removing environmental residue, checking seal integrity, polishing the decorative elements. The structural flaw wasn't visible until he applied pressure to clean a particularly stubborn corrosion spot. The metal gave with a sound that made Jake's stomach drop, not catastrophic, but a definite crack along one of the decorative support structures. Damage that would require specialized repair that compromised both the armor's integrity and its symbolic perfection. Jake stared at the crack, mind racing through protocols. Report the damage immediately. Document the structural flaw. Accept responsibility and face whatever disciplinary consequences applied. He was reaching for his comm unit when the maintenance bay door opened and Commander Seya herself entered, clearly having finished her tactical briefing earlier than scheduled. She saw Jake's expression first, the kind of guilt that couldn't be hidden. Then her eyes moved to the armor on the workbench, to the visible crack in the chest piece, to the cleaning tools that told her exactly what had happened. The temperature in the room seemed to drop. Seya was tall even for a Varkesh, her elongated features carrying the kind of controlled intensity that had earned her command position at an unusually young age. Her ears, mobile and expressive, angled back in an expression Jake's training identified as anger mixed with something more complex. She crossed the maintenance bay in 3 strides, stopping directly in front of his workbench. The damaged armor sat between them like evidence at a trial. "You broke my chest armor." Seya's voice was quiet, controlled in the way that suggested fury barely held in check. "Yes, Commander. I was cleaning it and there was a structural flaw I didn't detect. The pressure I applied. I don't care about structural flaws. I care that my armor is damaged, that the piece representing my family's honor and my achievements is cracked because a human didn't understand what he was handling." Jake opened his mouth to explain, to apologize, to invoke the protocols that were supposed to govern this situation. Seya stepped closer, not threatening, but imposing in a way that made Jake acutely aware of the physical and cultural differences between them. "Fix it now, human." The words weren't a request. "Commander, I need to report this through proper channels. There are protocols for equipment damage that require documentation and—" "I don't want protocols. I want my armor repaired." Seya's amber eyes held Jake's gaze without blinking. "You damaged it. You will fix it now." Jake's training had covered many scenarios involving Varkesh military personnel. This particular situation, a commander bypassing established protocols to demand immediate personal service, wasn't in any manual. "Commander, I'm not qualified to repair decorative structural elements. This needs a specialized armorer, someone who understands the cultural significance and can restore both function and appearance to appropriate standards." "You're telling me you can't fix what you broke?" "I'm telling you I can fix the structural damage, but the cultural restoration requires expertise I don't have. The symbols on this armor represent your achievements. I could compromise their meaning by attempting repairs without proper understanding." Something shifted in Seya's expression. The anger didn't disappear, but it was joined by what might have been surprise. You understand the symbols have meaning. I was trained on Varkesh cultural protocols. I know this armor represents more than protection. I know damaging it is. Jake stopped, searching for words. It's not just breaking equipment, it's damaging something personal, something that matters beyond function. And yet you broke it anyway. Yes, Commander, I made a mistake. I accept responsibility and whatever consequences apply. But I'm asking you to let me fix this correctly, with proper expertise, rather than demanding I rush a repair that could make the damage worse. Seya was silent for a long moment, studying Jake with intensity that made him deeply uncomfortable. Then she pulled up a chair, casual gesture that violated every military formality they were supposed to maintain, and sat down directly across from him. Tell me what you know about this armor, about the symbols you were so careful cleaning. Jake hesitated, uncertain if this was a test. The central crest is your family lineage, House Kor'venn, military tradition going back 7 generations. The surrounding pattern represents your personal achievements, 3 major tactical victories, distinguished service in the border conflicts, commendation for protecting civilian populations during the Ketharis incident. You memorized my service record. I memorized the symbolic language of Varkesh armor design. Your record is public. The symbols translate directly. Jake gestured to the damaged area. The crack compromises the structural support for this section, which represents your family honor. That's not just functional damage. It's symbolically significant in ways I'm not qualified to address. Most humans don't bother learning symbolic language. They see armor, not meaning. Most humans probably don't accidentally break Commander's chest armor either, Jake said before he could stop himself. Seya's ears angled forward, humor his training whispered, or at least less anger. You're right, they don't, which makes this situation unique. She reached forward, touching the damaged section with careful fingers. This armor was crafted when I received my command. The symbols were chosen by my family's master armorer. Every line, every curve has meaning, and you've damaged it through carelessness. Yes, Commander, I have. And you immediately recognized the significance. You didn't try to hide the damage, didn't attempt repair beyond your expertise, didn't treat this as simple equipment malfunction. Seya's expression was unreadable. You understood what you'd broken. What followed wasn't the disciplinary action Jake had expected. Instead, Seya made a decision that violated approximately 6 different military protocols. She ordered Jake to accompany her to the Varkesh armorer's workshop, to personally explain the damage and participate in the repair. Commander, I don't care what you think. You damaged this armor. You will be present for its restoration. You will understand exactly what's required to fix your mistake. The Varkesh armorer, Master Thuron, examined the damaged chest piece with focused intensity. He asked Jake questions in heavily accented English, how the damage occurred, what pressure was applied, what cleaning agents were used. Jake answered honestly, accepting full responsibility, expecting judgment. Instead, Thuron nodded thoughtfully. Structural flaw, old damage, poorly repaired before. Not your fault, but damage is damage regardless of cause. Can you repair it? Seya asked, her voice carrying tension. Can repair, but symbolic restoration requires understanding. Human, Thuron turned to Jake. You know these symbols. I know what they represent. I don't know how to craft them. Different things. Knowing meaning is important. Knowing craft is skill. Thuron gestured Jake closer. You will assist. You damaged, you help restore. Commander Seya's honor is involved. You will understand weight of what you broke by participating in repair. Jake looked at Seya, expecting her to object. Instead, she nodded. He helps, he learns, he understands. What followed were 6 hours of the most meticulous, demanding work Jake had ever performed. Thuron directed every movement, heating metal to precise temperatures, shaping it with delicate tools, engraving symbols with steady precision that took Jake 4 attempts to manage acceptably. Not perfect, Thuron observed of Jake's engraving work, but honest, shows respect in attempt, better than perfect technique without understanding. Seya watched the entire process, her presence a constant reminder of exactly whose honor Jake was helping restore. The curve here, Thuron said, indicating a section Jake had just finished. Too shallow represents strength of family tradition. Shallow curve suggests weakness. Unacceptable. Jake redid the curve 4 times before Thuron approved it. His hands were cramping, his back ached, and he'd gained profound respect for the artistry required to create Varkesh armor. "You understand now?" Seya asked during a brief break. "Why this isn't just equipment?" "I understood before," Jake said. "But yes, I understand differently now. I knew it was significant. Now I know how significant, how much skill and intention goes into every element. And do you understand why I demanded you fix it?" "Honestly, not entirely. You could have had Thuron repair this without me. Would have been faster, probably better quality." "Quality would have been identical. Thuron doesn't accept imperfect work." Seya's ears angled forward. "But you wouldn't have understood. You would have filed a report, accepted minor disciplinary action, and continued maintaining equipment without really comprehending what you damaged." "So this was educational punishment. This was ensuring you understood weight of your mistake, not to shame you but to teach you." Seya gestured to the partially restored armor. "You can't respect what you don't understand. Making you participate in restoration forced understanding." The armor restoration was completed after 8 hours. Thuron examined every millimeter with critical precision before finally nodding approval. Acceptable. Symbolic integrity maintained. Structural improvement over original. Human learned respect through action. He looked at Jake with something that might have been approval. "You have patience, rare in your species. Good quality for equipment maintenance." Jake flexed his cramping hands, exhausted but oddly satisfied. "Thank you, Master Thuron, for teaching me. Teaching is purpose. Learning is responsibility. You accepted both." Thuron turned to Seya. "Your armor is restored, Commander. Human participated with appropriate seriousness. Honor is maintained." After Thuron left, Seya and Jake stood in the workshop with the restored armor between them. The repaired section was invisible to casual observation. Perfect integration, symbolic meaning preserved, structural integrity actually improved. "I should still file an incident report," Jake said. "Damaging a commander's equipment requires documentation." "File whatever reports your protocols demand," Seya said. "But understand that the important correction has already occurred. You didn't just fix armor. You learned what it means to break something culturally significant, and then participated in making it whole again." "Why did this matter so much to you?" Jake asked. "You could have just accepted the apology, let Thuron repair it, moved on. Why force me through 8 hours of restoration work?" Seya was quiet, her fingers tracing the repaired section. "Because you're the first human equipment maintainer who recognized the difference between functional damage and cultural damage. Who understood that breaking this armor meant more than breaking equipment. That deserved acknowledgement, not just punishment. Acknowledgement through 8 hours of cramped hands. Acknowledgement through teaching you exactly what you already partially understood. You knew this armor mattered. Now you know how and why." Seya met his eyes. "Most humans I work with see Varkesh equipment as alien tech to be maintained according to manual specifications. You see it as belonging to someone, meaning something beyond function. That's rare. I just try to understand the people whose equipment I'm maintaining." "Yes, and that's why I demanded you fix this, because you were capable of understanding what fixing it actually meant." Seya lifted the restored armor. "This is better than it was before. Structurally improved, symbolically intact, and now carrying the additional meaning of restoration after damage. Of a human learning respect through action rather than just words." I'm still sorry I damaged it in the first place. I know your guilt was obvious, but guilt without understanding is useless. It's just feeling bad without learning anything. Seya's expression softened. You've learned. You understand weight of what you handle now. That makes the broken armor almost worth the experience. Over the following months, Jake's relationship with Commander Seya shifted from strictly professional to something approaching genuine collaboration. She began requesting him specifically for her equipment maintenance, not because she doubted other technicians, but because she trusted his understanding. She also started teaching him, pointing out symbolic elements he hadn't recognized, explaining cultural significance he'd missed, gradually expanding his comprehension of Varkesh military tradition beyond any training manual. You don't have to teach me this, Jake said during one session. It's not part of my job requirements. No, but you want to learn, and I want someone maintaining my equipment who actually understands it. This benefits both of us. The repaired chest armor sat in Seya's quarters, its restored section invisible to casual observation, but known to both of them. A reminder that mistakes could become learning, that damage could deepen understanding, and that sometimes the most important repairs weren't to equipment, but to the comprehension of what equipment meant to those who depended on it. I broke her chest armor while cleaning it. She stepped closer and said, "Fix it now, human, HFY sci-fi story." When Sergeant Jake Morrison accidentally cracks Commander Seya Kor'venn's ceremonial chest armor during routine maintenance, he expects disciplinary action and formal protocols. Instead, the Varkesh commander demands something far more challenging, that he personally participate in the armor's restoration, learning through 8 hours of meticulous work exactly what he damaged and why it matters. What begins as a mistake becomes an education in cultural respect, as Jake discovers that Varkesh armor represents not just protection but family honor, personal achievement, and identity expressed through artistry. Seya's unconventional response, forcing Jake to understand the weight of his mistake by participating in making it whole again, transforms a simple accident into a lesson about recognizing the difference between functional damage and cultural damage, and about how true respect comes from